Round of applause. Who's done Adderall here? Right, sure. First time I did Adderall, nothing happened. I was like, this is bullshit. I'm going to write a 5,000-page essay about how this drug doesn't work. Now, for those of you not laughing, I might suggest a prescription for Adderall to help focus better. For those of you who were laughing, you're the fuckers. You should have been clapping on the previous question. I got addicted to Adderall. I was actually kind of fucked up. I got addicted, and I went to a psychiatrist, and I told her I had a problem. I was like, I have a problem. I'm addicted to Adderall. I do it a lot. I don't know what to do. And I'll never forget what she said. She said, well, we can prescribe it for you. I was like, go on. She was like, yeah, we'll just write out a prescription and then it'll no longer be a problem in your life. I was like, okay. I was thinking more like rehab, but sure. The comforting illusion that I'm not a drug addict. That also works. But I did it, I got a prescription, and it was great. I was like a junkie under this guise of normalcy called the FDA, right? And I was doing it every day. It was good for the most part. Sometimes it's bad. Adderall is good. The thing about Adderall is whatever you're doing when you take it, you do that. You focus on that all day. So as long as the thing you're doing when you take it is productive, it's good. Sometimes what you're doing when you take it is not productive, and that can be... Don't ever jack off on Adderall. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to beat around, but don't ever... Seriously. And I don't mean to be vulgar, but don't ever do it. Because first of all, you can't come because you're on Adderall. But because you're on Adderall, all your attention is focused on completing the task in front of you. And those two factors cancel each other out, and you end up yanking your dick for like 15 hours. You're like strangling it, like Homer used to strangle Bart in The Simpsons. And your dick after a while, it looks like Bart, it's all yellow and short and fat. And you still can't come, but you don't want to give up. Because the only thing worse than wasting a whole day jacking off is wasting a whole day trying to jack off and failing. If you can't even accomplish jacking off in a day, you're fucked. But for the most part, it was good. I was doing it every day. I was productive. But what happened was, very slowly, that mask of normalcy, that FDA-approved mask, slowly started to slide off, little by little. First, I started doing more than the prescription amount, which is frowned upon. Then I ran out before my next refill, because I was doing more than the prescription amount. And so I started buying it off the street, which is frowned upon, and illegal, it's both. Then I couldn't get off the street, and then the problems really started to happen. I was feeding in for it. It was one day in June, the first week of June. I was walking around my hometown, Louisville, Kentucky, and I ran into this guy who was like a notorious drug dealer in the area. Let's call him Matt, because that was his name, Matt Milton. And I asked him if he had any Adderall, and he said no, but he said he did have this other drug he was trying to get off his hands. And I asked him what it was, and what he said would have most people running for the hills. What he said was, let me try to get it completely right. I don't know. My uncle made it in his basement. So right away I'm assuming, this is yet to be approved by the Food and Drug Administration. But I was fiending, so I took it with a blue powder in a plastic bag, I parachuted it, which is where you crumple up and you swallow it, and I went to my job that day. At the time I worked as a greeter at Walmart. I applied there 4 months earlier. I figured it would be a pretty easy job to apply to. All you need is a couple years of experience saying hello. I'm working there, I'm waiting, I'm standing up in front with all the old ladies I work with, and I'm waiting for it to kick in. After 30 minutes, it starts kicking in. And I start greeting people with a little more, vivacity, a little more passion. Then it really starts to kick in. I start greeting the shit out of people. I'm like, welcome, get the fuck in here, welcome to Walmart. Whatever you want, what do you want? We have it. I know, you don't have to tell me, we have it. I start jumping in front of the old ladies I work with, greeting the people they're trying to greet. Then I give them shit. I'm like, sorry, Ethel, you gotta be quicker. It's Walmart greeting in a young man's game. You gotta be quick. Then I start sweating profusely. Then I start feeling this pain in my abdomen. I'm like, whatever. I'm sure it has nothing to do with that completely unknown drug I took. Then I start hallucinating. Like all this shit around me starts getting swirly. Then I start being plagued with the utmost certainty I'm about to die. Now, these are all known as symptoms of what's called a bad trip. Now, when you're having a bad trip, people around you start to look really grotesque and terrifying. Which is why when you're having a bad trip, it's not a good idea to be in a fucking Walmart. Where people tend to look like that anyway. I start running back, I see this like witch chasing these 6 little munchkins, which turned out to just be a mother and 6 kids. I turn the other way, there's an old man in an eye patch and no teeth laughing, which turned out to just be an old man in an eye patch and no teeth who was there that day. I go to the bathroom, I start puking and shitting all over the toilet, which is horrible. That's the worst moment. Because a lot of things I said I would never do in my life that I did, but I never thought, ever, that I'd be the grossest person at fucking Walmart. That was the one thing I thought I had going for me in my life. I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die. My obituary's gonna read Walmart greeter. No one's gonna give a shit when they read it because they assume I was actually 85 and just a young picture of me, right? I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. I call my twin sister. She's at home at the time. I call her. She answers. She goes, hello. I go, I'm about to die. It was good knowing you. And then I hung up. So she was a little concerned. She called the ambulance. The ambulance comes. They put me in the ambulance. I'm grabbing the EMS guy's shoulder. I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fucking die. He's like, why? I'm like, I took a drug. He's like, what drug? I'm like, I don't know. Do you know Matt Middleton's uncle? Then I'm like a dying soldier in a war looking for reassurance. I'm like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? Tell me I'm not gonna die. Am I gonna die? And I'll never forget what he said. He said the very same thing Matt Middleton said. He said, I don't know. Because I don't know what drug you took. I'm like, fair enough. They get me to the hospital. My heart rate is at 190, which is fast for me. Finally, they injected me with some Ambien. It was so nice. To rest back in the bosom of FDA-approved drug again. Because FDA-approved drugs were like my lover that I had abandoned for this white trash whore. Now I was back. My heart rate went down. They did a drug test. It turned out I took this drug called cathinone, otherwise known on the black market as bath salts. I know. Which fucked up. Bath salts. Here I was, a semi-law abiding, FDA-approved drug user, and I had taken bath salts. Bath salts. I know it doesn't sound as ominous with my list, but bath salts. It's hard. I don't know if you know this drug, but this is a drug where that guy took it. You remember in the news that guy took it and ate off a person's face? You all remember that? You all get the news around here, right? He ate off a person's face. And not just anyone's face. A homeless person's face. Which is way worse. Not only did it make him a cannibal, it made him a cannibal with a shitty palate. It made him a cannibal with poor taste. You know a drug's bad when it makes you do something that'll make even Jeffrey Dahmer be like, So, the nurse comes out to me, and this is like the moral of the story. The nurse comes up to me, she says afterwards, she says, I'm surprised you didn't go into cardiac arrest, because your heart was beating so fast. And what she did not know is that I could have gone into cardiac arrest that day, but I had been prepared for that moment. My body had been prepared for my heart rate getting that fast. See, ironically, I had been saved that day by a year of practice, jerking off on Adderall for 14 hours straight. Thank you, I'm Raanan Hershberg, that's my time to welcome.